Yes, yes, and thank you to Jennifer Ralph. Huge heart shout out to Jennifer Ralph, who shipped all of these for us. You know, shipping 100 of these across the country in a quick turnaround. So if you haven't received it, you'll get it by tomorrow. You know, there is weather and etc. So so you'll have it by tomorrow. But anyways, we're super excited to have done that. And there's a little note in there, right? It says, "Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them." And I'm adding my little piece onto that, that more importantly, may we always support them. You know, this year's International Women's Day theme is Choose to Challenge. And I have to tell you, March 8th today, this just March 8th always, but aside from the fact that it's International Women's Day, it holds a really special day in my heart, because 18 years ago today, my daughter was born. So my daughter, Sophia, I believe really exemplifies what it means to be an international woman, and also the fact that around the theme Choose to Challenge, because I'll try and get through this without tearing up. She's a school shooting survivor, and you know, that theme, you know, she struggles every day with PTSD and with depression, and I'm telling you, COVID has not helped any of that. Being locked in, but she doesn't let it define her, and she just goes out and kicks butt, and she chooses to challenge, and she challenges gun control and women's rights and equality around the globe. And that's, I'm not doing a gun thing. If you guys own guns, yeah, so just safe, right? But you know, there's a lot of young women out there today that really, you know, whether it's your daughters, sisters, nieces, goddaughters, whatever young women or, you know, mentees are in your life, we really, all of us collectively have to pay the path forward for them, and make sure that equality happens, and we all have the ability to voice our voice and grow together as women. All right, today we have two of those amazing women with us, who also exemplify International Women's Day. Tina Valdez and Nicole McMacken. One of our panelists, Carrie Brown, had to cancel on Friday, but trust me, we have enough awesomeness with these two women here that we're super excited about. So I'm going to let Marivi introduce Nicole first, and then I will get the honor of introducing Tina. So back to you, Marivi.
Thanks, Heather. So Nicole, very appreciative of you joining, of course, Tina as well. So Nicole, I've known her. In fact, she is about to walk the Hollywood red carpet I think at noon. She's been awarded as one of the Women in Technology Hollywood awardees. So Nicole had helped us a lot, actually through acquaintance with my former CIO at Sony. And then Molina, also Nicole had helped me with my career. Nicole and I were doing a CIO executive training, and I was so appreciative of Nicole being able for, you know, having me help that professional training for, you know, women that are wanting to get into a C-level status. And I think we did like several, maybe 12 vice presidents or directors in the industry that attended our training session and certified for that CIO advisory training, and we helped them, mentoring them. Nicole also is a member of a lot of, you know, women organization like STEM, and of course, you know, she owns a very, very profitable. She's the CEO of Irvine Technology Corporation. Actually, I go to Nicole for some of the talent that if we needed at Technologent, and she's got a very, very large network of highly, highly skilled talent within the industry. So Nicole, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you, Marivi. I'm really excited to be here. I appreciate the invitation, and what a better day to be here and celebrate Technologent and all the women other than on International Women's Day. So thank you. I'm super excited.
Sorry. unmuted. I really quick funny story. So Marie introduced me to Nicole, and we were going back on email and trying to schedule the right time when Nicole and Tina were both available. And she says, I'm just not available between 12 and 3 because I'm walking the red carpet at that time. And I said, oh my, okay, so can we do 10 o'clock Pacific time? Would that give you enough time to get to Hollywood and walk the red carpet? And she's like, it's virtual, Heather. And I literally laughed to myself. I'm like, okay, I'm obviously thinking that COVID's done and that she's just going to go and walk a red carpet and we're all going to see her on film later. So yeah, so pardon me for like dreaming that all of this is behind us. Yeah, yeah. All right, so I get the honor of introducing Tina. So I know all of you have had this, but I met Tina 13 months ago, and I'm telling you, I fell in love with this woman. I was like, she's such a joy. She's so much fun to be with. She's hilarious. She loves tequila. I probably shouldn't have shared that part, but yeah, no, she literally kicks ass. So much so that she is a 3rd degree black belt. And she enjoys teaching women and kids personal protection. She was actually just featured on, and you've got to send me the link to this, Tina. Maybe you can put it in the chat box. She was featured in She Explores as a personal safety expert. So one of her ways to give back is by teaching young ladies how to defend themselves if they head off to college. So Tina, Sophia, and I will be coming to visit you soon, and you'll be giving us a course, or I'll fly you out here, either way. But aside from being just a kick-ass woman, Tina is the COO for Morpheus Data. You guys are more than familiar with Morpheus. We're always talking about them with our cloud management platform and what we're doing. We had some really successful deals go down last year, and we've got some more coming up here shortly. She is a strong advocate for women within the business, and she comes from a very diverse background of leadership roles, from engineering, quality and product management, and sales to C-level and line of business. She likes to take on the challenging teams or the underdog teams, right? And just really be ambiguous and build new teams to drive a force. One of the things that she rolled out, and I think you might have rolled it out when we were in Mexico, right, Tina? The Trinity Project. So this Trinity Project that she rolled out really fosters growth and excellence for women at Morpheus. And she's got an amazing team of women at her organization as well. Tina is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. More kick-ass, like Tina, seriously. Sorry, I was supposed to give up swearing for Lent, and I'm not doing a very good job. So I apologize, forgive me. She has a Bachelor of Science in Ocean Engineering, and she received her minor in Language Studies. She also has an MBA from the University of Colorado Leeds School of Business. So Tina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for that introduction, Heather. I just want to say congratulations to this team for the number of women that you have at Technologent. I was at your event last year at the Women in Technologent event, and fabulous kickoff that you had there. And I was shocked then to hear, I think Marita, you got up and given the open speech and said that there were 40% women at Technologent. I'll tell you, ladies, there's hardly a meeting I sit in where there's more than 20% women in attendance, and at Morpheus, we're happy that we're almost 10% women at Morpheus and continuing to try to grow that. It's a tough industry, and you guys have just done an amazing feat with supporting so many women in your organization. It's fantastic to see, and you're a fantastic organization to work with. Thank you.
Thanks, Tina. So much of that goes to Tammy. I mean, she's probably got the largest team with all of the lovely ladies on it. So we are very grateful to have as many fabulous women as we do. All right, we're going to get started on our panel questions, but one really fun fact, because I gave a little one on Nicole, but see Tina's little white things that stick out behind her? She also has 2 gray hairs that when she gets angry, they stick up like little devil ears. So yeah, I know all these little fun things about Tina. So anyway, it totally reminded me, Tina, with that white behind you. All right, so I'm sorry, I spoke over you. One more time.
No, I'll remember that. I didn't think about that with this background. I'll have to stop that.
Love it. All right, so Nicole, we're going to start with you. We'd love to hear about you, your career, family, what you do for fun. We'll let you take the floor for us.
Thanks. So I am, as Marie V had mentioned, I'm the CEO of Irvine Technology Corporation. We're a national staffing and solutions firm. I began running the company when I was 29 years old, and we were doing $1.3 million in total revenue. And 3 years later, we were up at Inc.'s Fortune 5000's fastest growing company at 72 million. And it's been a ride. I love work. I'm passionate about women. As Marie V alluded to, I began a program several years ago, and Marie V was instrumental in that as well. Really looking and taking women who wanted to reach the executive level within IT. And I found that the major stumbling block really was not the glass ceiling, and it really wasn't men holding women down, but it was really women lacking the confidence to move themselves forward. And so I grabbed a group of 15 CIOs that I work really closely with here in Southern California, and we started an incredible program that was cost-free because I didn't want to give anyone any excuses not to join the program. And it was kind of a beta. And I grabbed 15 women, manager, directors, and above, and they took them through this course, and we saw astounding results. And UCLA had actually heard about it and had me come in and speak with them about it, and they've adopted it. And I taught there last semester, and then UCSD, and it's ongoing, an ongoing program. So I'm really proud of that, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up. We're actually doing our first virtual program kicking off in April. And so we take about 35 to 40 women per class. And again, it's a free course. Actually, if there's anyone out there that's in technology, that's wanting to move forward in their careers, Heather has my contact, and of course, Marie V, if you're interested. We're hopefully in person. The next course will be in Irvine or UCLA or San Diego as well. But just a synopsis. I have 2 beautiful children and a husband. I have a high school girl. So Tina, I'm going to be coming to you because we need those courses to protect ourselves. It's super important. And I have an 18-year-old boy who just is at LMU. He plays Division I golf for them. And my husband, we've been together since high school. So he went to USC, I went to UC Irvine, and we got engaged and married soon after. How I like to relax unequivocally is just with my husband and my kids, and we have such a good time. We all play golf, and we were at a place this last weekend, and I heard a woman, we laugh so much as a family, and I heard a woman say at the table next to us, she said, well, what are we supposed to do? Tell them to stop having so much fun with their children? And we were just laughing and laughing. And so that's what I love to do. I love to travel. I love to read books. As I mentioned, my biggest passion is giving back, in particular to women. Our company helps represent and represented minorities, but my passion for my life is really, all the good stuff is really helping women move forward in their careers. So that's a little bit about me. I'll turn it back over. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, Nicole. That is awesome. You may have your entire class filled before you even launch it. If you only have 40 women, like, sign me up. I mean, I'm sure we'll get other requests to participate, but that sounds amazing, especially if it's online, because then we would actually have the opportunity to do it from women all over the place. But what a great way to give back. I love that your son's at LMU. We'll have a little sidebar on that. My daughter got accepted there and has been offered a scholarship. But she hasn't chosen, but I'd love to hear more about that. And, the laughter piece of it, it's so important. And, I've had that happen too, where people are like, please don't sit us near that table too loud. So I love that. It just warms my heart hearing that. So thank you. All right, Tina, what about you, my friend? Career, family, fun?
Yeah, Nicole, I'm so impressed with how young you were when you started that company. That's just impressive. Warms the bottom of my heart to see and the success that you've had. And you're like 30 now, so you did a lot of that in a very short amount of time. So congratulations to you. For me, I feel like my career has been a patchwork quilt, or if we're talking in technology terms and not in words my grandmother would use, it's like our typical customer that has a little bit of everything in their environment, and it all came from who knows where. Like Heather had said, I've spent some time in manufacturing organizations, telecom, technology, business process outsourcing, done a little bit of everything, and all the roles within those organizations, from legal, finance, line of business management to engineering and product management, sales, and marketing. So a lot of different things come together, and at different points throughout my career, as I've looked at what do I want to do next, or how do I feel about the position that I'm in right now, I would often look at where I was and say, well, what is this hodgepodge of stuff that I've done? How does it serve me? How does it serve the other people around me? And what do I do with it? And what it's come down to is, and there may be, as you're sitting out there and wondering, what is your career built to, and what is your next step, and how did you end up in the role you're in? What it came to, what I found that I love the most is just jumping into the next new thing. What is ambiguous? What is a problem that needs to be solved that no one really wants to jump in and solve, or that they need someone to jump in and solve? That's been the most fun and rewarding piece of my career, and that includes working with the new people, the new team that comes on board, the new market that the company wants to get into. And because of all of those different new and what's next things, it's jump into, very early in my career, I was at US West, which is like Pac Bell out in California, or was the part of the original Ma Bells. And our CEO decided at one point that he wanted to be the first unionized organization to do pay for performance. And I happened to have a statistical background, so I said, hey, I'll jump in. It was very statistically oriented. You had to be able to prove to the union, parity of performance or improvement in performance. So I jumped right in and did that, and that's not something that I had on my list of things to do when I graduated from college. So I just love the new things, and it's brought me a lot of joy. Other things that bring me joy: I'm getting married in 3 weeks. Again, time round number 2. This one is, I remember Marie had given her intro last year. This man has supported me through thick and through thin. He's also part of this industry. He works for Cisco, so you guys might see him trolling around in the AppD world. So very excited to be tying the knot with him next week. We bring together a family. We'll be a family of 5 children when we're done. I kept my stepdaughter from my previous marriage. She's mine as far as I'm concerned. 26-year-old, and then I have an almost 18-year-old as well, boy that is graduating from high school this year, a 14-year-old daughter, who's a freshman in high school, a soon to be an official 12-year-old stepson, and a 7-year-old stepdaughter. She just turned 7 on Friday. So nice big family with a long range there that keeps me not empty nesting for a long time to come. For fun, dancing. My fiance and I dance for fun. It's salsa, it's cumbia, it's jitterbug, it's Lindy Hop, country and western. You name the dance, we'll get out and do it. We'll socialize, love to hang out with our friends, and get out camping as well. And we'll turn on the music and camp, dance by the fire. So that's the fun.
And karaoke, which you and Marie have in common too.
No, if I recall, Heather.
The dancing is better. The Tina and their dancing is so much fun, and witness it very, very well. Yeah. I just wanna say also plug in for what that Nicole is doing. Yeah, if you all, the women in Technologent, is interested, that it's really good program. If you want to advance your career, it's free. All the IO and CTO or C-level that Nicole asked to participate and to teach. I had the opportunity to do that. It's also all pro bono, so a very good cause. And maybe Tina, we could do something in the in the high tech side there. So because Tina actually is part of Cisco before, and she's part of this product collab. So we're using the technology that she used to support at Cisco. So thank you for that.
I will say to everyone that's here with us today, if you have any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat box. We will have time at the end if you want to ask live questions, but along the way, if you have questions, we're watching the chat box, so feel free to chime in. Okay, so my next question, and Nicole, we'll bring it back to you. And I love this because I think it goes really along with what you do and what you started in these classes that are being taught. What are 3 things you wish every woman in the workplace believed?
Well, first and foremost, in themselves.
Yeah.
It's been through study, and in prepping for this course that I deliver, I spent 4 months just with rigorous research, speaking to experts, watching TED Talks, actually talking with authors who's written books. And what it boils down to most is, on average, our gender has a perfectionist view of themselves. And it really inhibits ourselves from being able to move forward as a gender. The easiest, Marie's heard me say this before, and I usually will talk about it at the beginning of every class, and I think you'll kind of get a laugh out of it, but there's a lot of truisms that are within it. So if you get arbitrarily, let's say, a job description, and it has 100 items on it, as a woman, we'll look through it and we'll say, okay, I have 95 of the 100. I'm not going to apply for the job. I need to get an additional degree, a certification. I need to pick up and learn a little bit more on this particular technology. A man will look at that same job description and say, I've got 64 of the 100. I'm going for it. I'm perfect for the job. And that's the difference. And as a person who owns a recruitment firm, right, I am approached on a daily basis by CEOs and CFOs asking for diverse candidates. They're asking for you to step forward if only you would submit yourself. And I think that women hold themselves back by the feeling that we need to have everything dialed, that we need to have everything right. And when we speak up, it needs to be perfect. And I'll tell you, it's just not true. And right now, we have a captive audience in the last few years. And I would suggest to each of you that you should move yourselves forward. Even if you feel you're not right for the position, talk to your manager, express your interest in moving forward. Let them know. As women, we tend to want people to notice us by our work. But you know what? Sometimes we need to step forward and say, hey, look over here. Look at the things that I'm doing, and proactively have discussions. Sorry for such the long answer, but I guess that would be my first. Do you want me, Heather, to go down the other 2 and 3?
Yeah, please. And I love what you said. I've heard the statistics before, and it is mind-boggling that and I'm sure most of us would say we're guilty of it, like, oh, well, we're missing these few things, and all the men are like, I got this. I'll learn it along the way, right? And so thank you for that one. I love that. Please continue on.
Thank you. And the second piece of advice that I would hope that women would know is in the workplace is please don't let people define who you are in the workplace. You define yourself. And really what I mean by that is I've seen oftentimes through the hundreds of women that I've been working with through the years, is that as women, we feel like we have to assimilate ourselves into the corporate culture of men. And that's just not true. What I see that happens most often is if you don't have a voice, if you don't have something different to say, if you're just going with the flow and not making any waves, and I'm talking about doing this in an appropriate manner, but having your own different voice, leadership often will see you as mediocre, as someone that they will not promote because you don't stand out. So don't let people define you. I would say, don't be an assimilator, have a voice. So that's an important part. The third thing that I would say in the workplace is that many men are actually willing to support and help you. In our courses, we have a mentor, a CIO that's assigned to you for a year. And because the lack of women at the CIO level, obviously just by numbers, the majority are men. But those are the people that we're working with in technology. Technology still is a very heavy male-dominated industry. And so for the most part, men have different views, different thoughts, different qualities than we as women have. And I think it's great to have within the workplace a trusted advisor that's of a different gender. And I do think that there are so many men out there, especially that I know in the workplace, and I think you would turn to yourself and look in Technologent and see in the workplace that would be promoters of you. And I would utilize that for yourselves. I would seek that out. So those are my three.
Absolutely great advice. I want to really stress the importance of being okay with having a male mentor, because as we know, it's 22% women in IT. So there's not a lot of female mentors we can choose from. So leaning on male leaders or people that you connect with. All of my mentors have been male. And I found that I connected with them because they had wives and daughters, and they have a lot of strong women in their lives as well. So I think male mentors can really show you some new perspective. The other thing that you said, Nicole, that I love is define yourself. Don't let anyone define you. And I early on in my career, in my 20s, I had a male mentor say to me, "You don't have to be one of the boys." And I was like, wow, because you're sitting in these meetings all day long and you're like, oh, but you don't have to be one of the boys. One of the things that's so amazing about us is our femininity and what we bring to the table. So Nicole, oh my gosh, so well said. Thank you so much. All right, Tina, I'm going to ask you the same question. So what are 3 things you wish every woman in the workplace believed?
I think I'm down to 2. Nicole covered so many of them well there. So I will just add a couple that are probably really just emphasis, there to emphasize what Nicole had covered. The first one is that I've even found myself guilty of this recently. And that's assuming that your idea or the thought that you have or your contribution to the meeting, everybody already knows that. Everyone already, that's a given. It's common sense. It's status quo. Everybody knows that. So I'm not going to bring it up. And then you might have found yourself sitting in that same meeting, and 5 minutes later, one of the other guys in the room brings it up, and there's a light bulb that goes off for everybody in the room. So I hope that we all believe that, you do have knowledge, and you do have information and ideas in your heart and in your brain that people do want to hear, and they do want you to communicate. And it's to that confidence point, I think, that you made, Nicole. Have confidence in yourself. Know that there is value that you bring, even if you look at it and you say, oh, well, after you went through and you checked off all 100 things that you've got to do to get the job, of course, everybody else in the room has already checked out those 100 and they don't need to hear your ad because everyone's been through the same thing. Not the case. Be confident in putting out the idea there. The other one, a little bit adjacent there, is giving the benefit of the doubt to the other people around you. We do work in an all-male world, and they all come from different backgrounds. And I like to believe, and I hope we all believe, that if you feel like you've been slighted or wronged, or you're working with somebody who maybe isn't the most friendly to women, first thing is to give them the benefit of the doubt. They may not recognize that what they're saying or how they're acting or how they're working with you in a meeting or on a project isn't conducive to supporting you or to helping you shine. They just may not realize it. So how do you have a kind conversation with them, assuming that they come from a place of good and not from a place that's trying to hold you down, but just enlightening them and letting them know kindly at first. Sometimes you might need to use that voice to get a little more vicious, but kindly at first. How do you assume that everybody around you gives them the benefit of the doubt, gives them the grace, and help them through being an advocate of you and helping you shine?
Tina, I really like that. You're right. So often, men may not have a sister or a wife or someone to say, have you thought about approaching things or stating something differently? So I think that's a really great thing to say. Did you recognize that coming from the fact that you were at the Navy Academy? Did you find that you were having to educate men along the way about, hey, maybe you should consider approaching the subject with me this way, or using a different voice, or
running with, when I was there, it was 10% female. So running with that many men and a mostly I guess male focus, very physically active, it was the art of warfare. A lot of what we were focused on was very male focused in the first place. So just running though with that many brothers, running with 4,000 brothers all the time really helped me see, how they think, what their natural back to nature way is. And then it's helped me as I've grown into, corporate America and the different types of training, of course, we've had in corporate America around sensitivity, diversity, be able to compare and contrast those two views and visions. But everyone looking today, even there's, our younger guys that are coming up in technology where this is their first job. This is their first entree into corporate America. It's their first job out of high school and college and high school and college sports and those teams, and that, really working integrated with women. They just don't know yet. And you can see that a bit in their eyes, and you can hear it in how they talk. How do we help them come up and understand the full team and that we are a little bit different?
Right. That's awesome. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Nicole. Both amazing answers. All right. So my next question, what do you view as having been critical to your success thus far? Nicole, I will start with you.
Okay, great. Number one is that, and it's funny because I often will get interviewed and people, the first, almost always the first question will be, well, how did you break the glass ceiling? And honest to God, I attribute most of my success as a woman to never even realizing there was one. I defined myself like I spoke about. I tell my employees, and they know it and they hear it way too often, is that you need to get uncomfortable every day. And I make myself uncomfortable every day. And that's by pushing myself to either ask a question I would normally be opposed to. I will, that's an exercise. If I make myself mentally and physically uncomfortable because I believe it challenges myself on a daily basis. And you need to push yourself and make yourself just a little bit uncomfortable to move yourself ahead. So I think that was part of, one of the things that really impacted me. And then I always, kind of tell people that your network is equivalent to your net worth. And I'm not talking about 1 million people on LinkedIn, but what I'm talking about is people that you can go to, or friends of friends, and say, hey, I need some help. Would you mind? I'm looking to move forward in my career. I need help with this. Would you mind referring me? I see that you know this person. And you'll be amazed, and we all know this, and this is just a gentle reminder to us all. When you ask someone for help, we will flock, especially our gender, flock to help one another. And it's really an astounding thing. And I think we don't utilize the ask. And I think, keeping up a network from people that you went to elementary school with to high school, to college, to your work friends, to your children's, parents, a community that you formed. You have so many degrees of separation with people and places that you want to go and people who would be willing to help you. So my network, I still leverage to this day. I keep it very close to me. My ability to make myself uncomfortable each and every day to grow myself. And then, of course, the recognition that I only define myself. No one defines me. And I'm going to be able to go as high in the corporate ladder that I want and do the things that I want to do. And I challenge myself. For instance, last week, I went with an all men's group paintballing. I came home with welts all over my body. But I told my husband, I said, I'm 49 years old. When am I ever going to do this again? I said, those types of things, live life experiences, push yourself to the boundaries safely. But those are some of the things that drove me in my career and some of the things that I attribute my success to.
Those are fantastic, and truly living to the theme of International Women's Day, which is choose to challenge, right? So you challenge yourself every day to be uncomfortable. And I love that. I wrote that down because, sometimes we get sedentary, right? Or we've got too many other things going on in our lives that to come up with a new little challenge, it's just one more thing on the plate. But I really like that. I like that getting uncomfortable. And it kind of to Tina's point, right? Saying something that you think everybody knows, or maybe you're nervous about raising your voice in a meeting, right? You're choosing to be a little bit uncomfortable by doing that. So those are great. Thank you. All right, Tina, how about you? What do you view as being critical to your success thus far?
I think it's also choosing to do hard things. And when we think about this, the choose to challenge, it's choosing to do hard things. We don't grow if we don't do the hard things. There's one of my peers, and some of you guys know him, Ted Danielson. He's one of those social butterfly sellers. He will ask a favor of anybody to get a deal done, and he doesn't like losing deals. When he and I worked together in sales for the first time, probably 8 years ago, I was always very, like we've discussed, I had to work hard and had to prove myself as a salesperson and had to have all the I's dotted and T's crossed to get a deal done. And he said, Tina, why don't you just go in and ask for the favor from the customer? It's like, no, here's 20 reasons why the customer won't do this. I'm not asking for the favor. We don't have all these things checked off. And he challenged me to do something that was a hard thing for me to do. And, I chose to do the hard thing there, which was go in and of course we got the deal, and we had that helped finish our year, and, all those wonderful things that happen in sales. But it's something that I remember all the time now is in that scenario, especially, hey, you know what? You now have a new skill. You can go and ask for the favor. So I grew because I chose to do that hard thing as opposed to what I was used to. Going to the Naval Academy, same thing. I could have gone to a different type of school where, we didn't do the military bearing and the physical activity. I was not a runner. And you have to run and you have to pass the physical fitness test at the service academies. I hated running, and that 8-minute mile scared me to death. All those runners out there, don't laugh at me. But that 8-minute mile as an 18-year-old scared me to death. But that's what I wanted to do. So I chose to do that hard thing. And then, got myself down to a sub 8-minute mile, so happy. But we don't grow if we don't choose to do the hard things. And that's, jumping into, like I talked about before, into the new market with the company or leading the new group. It's all hard and ambiguous things.
That's awesome. And I love what you brought up about Ted and the ask, right? I think so often we forget. So both of you, utilizing your network, it's okay to ask. We don't have to do it all ourselves, right? It takes a village to, the 6 of or the 5 of us on the call, we all have children, and we know it takes a village just to raise one kid, let alone 2, 3, whatever. But it also takes a village to help your career progress, right? It takes your network, it takes your people. So really awesome points. And it's kind of like that flock to help that you said, Nicole, right? Like our gender will flock to help, and you be proud of that. Like it's just even, reaching out to Reevy, and I said, hey, who do you think? Nicole, you responded within a minute. Tina, you were a second right after her. Absolutely, I will do this. Want to be there for on the panel with your women. So thank you. Those are both great answers. All right, so we're talking about kicking booty. See, I'm falling back on my not swearing here. So we're talking about kicking booty and no glass ceilings, because there's nothing that's going to keep us down. But how do we de-stress? And I'm assuming it's not your sub 8-minute mile, Tina. I'm assuming it's some other ways. Maybe some dancing. I'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, there's definitely some dancing, socializing with friends. We just had a virtual wine tasting with. I was terrible for Christmas. I came off, had to reschedule. Long story short, had to reschedule my last wedding. It was supposed to be in November, rescheduling it for 3 weeks from now, and so my December was a disaster. So I kind of glossed over Christmas, and so decided to send my family and friends that we normally exchange gifts with a wine tasting package for Valentine's Day. So I turned Valentine's into Christmas, and we just had that with 8 families on Friday. Just a sommelier leading us through the vineyard and the wines that we had, and just had a great time socializing with the people that we love and hang out with. Dancing, and then I also show dogs. So I spend time, if I really want to get into deep thought, grooming my dog. They've got a lot of hair, so it keeps me very well entertained for a long time, so I can think through whatever problems are at hand.
And Tina doesn't just have like fluffy show dogs. You've got gnarly, what's the breed again? They're tough cookies.
Yeah, they're Belgian Tervuren. I was looking to see if I had one around here. They're with my son right now. Yeah, they're Belgian Tervuren. They're like, you guys have all seen the police dogs and the military dogs, the Belgian Malinois. The Belgian Tervuren is the same dog, but with long hair. So there's a lot of grooming involved. But I've had them since I was born, this line since I was born, and they just go with me everywhere, and they're my constant companions. So if you're on a call with me, or video call, you'll probably see them.
Love it. Love it. That is the one thing, if you can take some positives away from being quarantined, is just getting to see people's homes, right? And dogs and how we all work. So I think that's fun. Nicole, how about you? How do you de-stress? Oh, sorry. Tina, go ahead. My apologies.
I was just going to add a on the doing hard things. My fiance he's a jitterbug, and he's kind of the 1920s to 50s dances that he does. And we decided to take on salsa. And in taking on salsa, we took on a world-renowned social salsa dancer as our instructor. And she makes us do hard things all the time. She's militant in the way she instructs us. And we choose to do that for a couple of hours every week, to get yelled at while we're trying to have fun dancing.
I love that. We're all going to Tina's. We're going to dance and learn self-defense.
Right.
So that should be our next women event, right? A self-defense course.
I'm down.
I love it.
Yeah, we can bring in this lady. She's fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. Nicole, how about you? How do you de-stress?
I think I mentioned earlier, I play golf. So and I don't know if that's de-stressing, because I was at a lesson even last night, and I am like, what am I doing? Why? Gosh, damn it. Da, da, da. I too gave up cussing for Lent. So I am right there with you. And it's usually golf that is when
Yeah, you're doing a much better job than I am. So well done.
To de-stress, I love to eat. It's really bad. I love to eat. I like to drink, but I really love to eat really bad food for you. So my husband's, he's also an executive, but we tried to get him on Master Chef. He's like a decadent chef. And so we have these ridiculous meals every night. I don't cook, which is like a savior. If you and your next husband, or if you're going to be getting married, get a husband that cooks. It's amazing. You never have to do that. And I'm happy to clean the dishes at night. Another thing is, so I read a lot to decompress. I read just, different types of books, some self-help books, some leadership books, some just, fiction, and I'm part of a book club. And then this is so terrible, and you guys are now going to think terribly of me, but like, I love to go on social media late at night and I just scroll past mindlessly all these people. And then you click on some of the topics and you see people arguing back and forth. And I really think it's hilarious that people are expounding so much time with these arguments. And my husband will be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I can't believe these people are arguing. He goes, I can't believe you're reading it. And so I don't know, form of amusement, I guess, for me. But those are the things that I do to decompress.
That's awesome. And we actually had a question come up. Thank you, Kim. Kim would like to know what some of your favorite self-help books are. That was for you, Nicole. Sorry.
Thanks. So I just finished one, and it's funny, I had and it's called Peak Perception, Peak Perseverance. And I just read it and finished it, and it's Peak Performance. My God, I'm so sorry. It's Peak Performance, and I would highly recommend it. I actually had our entire team read it, and we just finished. I started a book club at my company, and whoever wanted to join, it's called Peak Performance. We just finished it. It's a self-help book, and it really talks about it from athletes to people in the workforce, and some great tips all across the board on how people who in their careers have reached the highest level. And it's really tips. And it was funny because I picked up 3 or 5 instantaneously, and people in my company actually recognized it. I tend to be highly ADHD and always multitasking and doing things. And after reading this book, I really slowed down. I slowed down my speech. I slowed down the things that I did, and really gave intentional time to everything that I was going to do. But I recommend that book for anyone. I think it's great. I had really great feedback from our team on it, and I think you would enjoy it.
That's fantastic. You never know what you're getting into with some of the self-help books. So the fact that it was such a success for you, you've brought, better yourself from it, and your team gave you positive feedback on it. That's huge. It's not just one person, but a whole team feeling that it's great. Tina, do you have a self-help book that you like?
I tend to flip back and forth. Maybe my ADHD is worse because I can't sit through a whole book. I tend to flip back and forth through the different articles online. So get a little bit of everything across the board.
Love it. And actually, there is a question. There's a question for you too, Tina. It's what martial arts discipline, or what discipline of martial arts do you practice?
Right. So my 3rd degree is in Taekwondo, and then I've also practiced a little Kajukembo and some of the Israeli martial arts, military martial arts, but I'm not belted in any of those. That's part of the mix of styles that we use for our personal protection classes. So we mix them all together when we're doing personal protection.
That's awesome. These are all great questions, ladies. Thank you. Tina, I'll stay with you here, and then we'll take it to Nicole too, because I think this is important for both of you, or you can give perspective. Both of you can give perspective. Any tips on juggling family life as mother and wives with business?
Yeah. I'll take off on this one, if you will. You had mentioned community and that it takes a village. And I think that's one of the things to remember, is that we want to be perfect at everything that we do. We want to be perfect parents and perfect in the workplace. And but being that perfect parent sometimes means you're the band mom, you're the baseball mom, you're at every event. We get that idea in our head about what being the perfect mom is and how we may be viewed in that community. And I just think it's important to take a step back and say, where can I best contribute? Am I best being the one that goes to every meeting, or am I the one that can show up and work their butts off at the all-day band event? Which person can I be, or do I have to give and do everything at every one of these events for all of my kids and for everybody that I work with. So how do I split it up? Because there are other moms and dads and brothers and aunts and uncles out there that are helping support our kids every day too, so that we don't have to be there all the time and we don't have to sign up for everything. So I would just step back and consider the community always. You've got people around you who are going to help you in every aspect, help you get that next promotion, help you look at that next job, help your kids get through some of their homework hurts. There's a community out there, so think about leveraging it and what part you play in it.
Awesome. Nicole?
That's actually a great question. Someone told me a big lie a long time ago when I was young, before I had children, and it said, you could have it all, you could have everything. And right away, in my own mind, I thought full cylinders, right? Full cylinders in my relationship with my husband, full cylinders with work, full cylinders now with my child, and then children. And it's just not possible. And to your point, Tina, yes, that's 100% true. And I think the challenge is for us as women to say, let's do things that are important. Do I need to be at every meeting, every business meeting? Do I need to be at every event with my husband? I'm talking really corporate events, those types of things. Do I need to be at every single game? And figure out what's important to you. And for me, with my children, I took off 2 weeks after I had my son. We were in a situation where we could only afford for me to take my vacation off. And so with my daughter, I took off 6 weeks, and I was bringing her into the office with us. And I would tell you that both of my children think I'm the best mom on the planet. And it's because I'm very intentional when I'm there with them. And I'm very deliberate in what's the most meaningful moments in my company, with my children, with my husband. And so this fallacy that, we could have it all running on full cylinders, I don't buy it. But I do think, sidestep, we can have it all, but we need to change what all means a little bit. So, and yes, rely on people. It's okay to help, to carpool, to bring snacks, to do those types of things with children. It's okay. And it's, like I spoke about a little bit earlier, defining yourself and what's okay and who you want to be. So that's mine.
Both great answers. And I'll add in, since both of you have husbands that cook, try and have your husband cook, or pick up the slack, right? I mean, we can all cross domestic duties. So that's I think super important. Community and letting your significant others know, hey, I'll take care of this if you can cook dinner, or whatever the thing may be. We are getting to the top of the hour. I am so grateful to all of you lovely ladies that are here with us. I apologize that we didn't have time to take you off of mute for questions. I think the conversation has been amazing. Nicole and Tina, thank you both so much. We're so grateful to you. We're so grateful for this community, and I hope we all grow in IT and bring more women in. And I'm sure, gosh, we could spend another hour just talking about that alone. So thank you all. If you have any more questions for Tina and Nicole, as Nicole mentioned, Marivi and I have their contact information. We are happy to help you or help you answer any of those questions. Marivi, it looked like you wanted to do a closing as well.
No, I mean, thank you. Thank you to, obviously, women in tech. It is still, we're not there yet. There's still, the ratio is still, we're getting better, but it's not there. So we encourage everybody, mentor or be a mentee. So thank you. And Tammy, thank you for, your sponsorship, and Heather with all this. So, and Tina and Nicole, couldn't have a better panel. This to awesomeness. So thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for attending.
Heather, thank